And welcome back to the Stranded Season 1 recap. We are recapping episode 7 of Season 1 of Stranded. Spoilers for anyone that just tuned in.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll bring them back soon. It is me, Coach Drew, joined as always by Santi, and host, producer, director, and all things in between, Will. Will promised a banger of an episode last week, and I feel like it definitely delivered. Despite the fact that this was, for people that understand TV references, this is pretty much a bottle episode of Stranded. There's
Can you give me what that means?
Yeah, explain that.
I feel like I know it, but I don't.
A bottle episode is like an episode that takes place in one setting. It doesn't stray away from the one setting. So besides the first 7-ish minutes of the episode, we're just sitting at Tribal the entire time. And I think that really works to this episode's advantage, because Tribal can't, not just with this, with a lot of shows and a lot of LRGs, Tribal's like, okay, yeah, same questions, but like where the entire meat and potatoes of the episode is happening at Tribal, I think it absolutely helped it. And I'm really interested to see what went into the thought process of doing it this round, if this was always the plan and all of that. Just to start with Santi, though, what did you think of the episode overall?
I have so many thoughts. First of all, love the challenge. Congratulations to the winner. I have a picture that I want to share with everyone in a little bit when we get to that. But I live for live tribals. Like, that is my beautiful. I love it. It is my favorite thing to watch. It is my favorite thing to be a part of. The chaos is amazing. So I thought this episode was really, really good. Probably one of my favorites so far this season. Yeah, it was a really good episode. I do want to say, though, Will, we need to invest in some mics for season 3, because those girls were talking so low. I had no idea like where they were going to go with the vote.
Yeah, we were trying, because we only had the 2. We had one on Jack and then one for the players. And we were trying to pass the mic around, and it just it just didn't, it was season 1. All right.
No, I love it. No, because it created this funny moment for me of watching it as a fan of, like, John's asking the questions and the person's answering, and there's a conversation over here and there's a conversation over here, and all this chaos is erupting around them while they're still trying to have tribal council. And it was quite entertaining, because it's like,
that's why I loved, and again, this is just my team. This really has nothing to do with me. Kyle being on camera, Tony being on camera, like, I pretty much, like, I didn't have to give them direction. Kyle just knew, I'm going to sit down and just capture everything in one shot. And it was a funny moment, because, like, I think, what was it? Alex was sitting there like, hi, and everyone's like, ding, 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 all around him. It was so funny. Yeah.
So, but challenge.
Okay. So
yeah, let's start with the challenge.
Get to the challenge, which I said last week, the touch subjects was probably my favorite. But this seemed like a lot of fun, and it was just the loser goes out every round. Now, the way that this round is structured, and we'll go to you with this, it does feel like it was kind of a speed round on purpose. Like, the challenge was very simple, like, hey, go find this rock, come back, we'll do this however many times, and then we're going straight to Tribal. Was it supposed to be done, like, I guess, what was the thinking behind making this specific round a speed round?
Okay. So let me start with the challenge. So yeah, the challenge was always that. It was always going to be the finding kind of things. Again, it's season 1. The budget was, on the lower side. So I was like, what can be interesting? And I actually took a page. I will shout out Johnny Stockton from Competitive Events, because he always, like, I love, like, the running and finding missions. And many moons ago, I helped on the all girls season, and fans' favorites first 2 as production. And he always said, like, whenever you're running challenges like this, men are naturally taller than women. Not a big thing. That's just how life goes. So men mostly will always win this type of challenge. So he told me this. And so what we wanted to do is like, hey, listen, there's 9 of you doing this challenge. There's 9 stones out there. There was always the same amount of stones for people. So there was no like, oh, you just got to it quicker. So no, everyone had the same level. And it's also a level of luck too, right? As for, was it always going to be a going right to tribal round? Yes and no. I mean, we were with the second day, we obviously had more challenges. We only did 5 challenges on day 1. So we knew we had more challenges to do on day 2. Plus we knew we had final tribal. And with this cast, everyone likes to fucking gab. So we knew final tribal wasn't going to be quick. So then it was like, we always had the idea of like, listen, one of these rounds, we're going to send them right to tribal. But we weren't sure like when we were going to place it. And then after the really close vote on the merge, and you read the vibe of your cast, right? We see where the confessionals are going. And even though the merge vote was pretty straight down the middle, we're like, let's do it now. Because Ymir flipped. So green, we already knew green was like, oh fuck. And purple is like being is shaky already. And so I was like, I think this is a good time to do it. It's early enough. There's enough people. It's enough chaos, which is what we wanted. And so we determined that it was going to be that round. The idol, however, here's some behind the scenes tea. The idol was a game day decision. It was based off of, because there was no idols in the game at that point except for Ymir's. Because Dave, the purple idol there was no purple idol. Dave played his, and then Ymir had his, and that was it. And so we're like, we do want to hide one more, and then that'll be it for the game. And I think it was Jack. He was just like, oh, this would be a perfect time to do it. And I was like, oh, in the middle of a challenge, you could get caught doing it. And it paid off beautifully. Like, he was like, yeah, the bag is big enough. Would you cover it with the stone? And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, done. And also awarded the keen eye, because I think it'd be very easy for someone to grab a stone and not even realize the bag was sitting there.
Yeah. And I would say that when we, like, at first glance, the camera does, like, sort of zoom in on Alex as it happens. But I thought in that moment, it's like, okay, well, they haven't referenced this scene again. Maybe I'm crazy and he only picked up the rock. And it wasn't until he went up to vote that I was like, okay, no, I'm not. That actually was an idol that's there. And I do want to talk to our voted out player in a little while about how many people actually saw it, because a lot of people didn't make reference to it while they voted. A couple people made reference to it while they voted or something like that.
Well, that was because of the way he was, the way Alex was acting. He was a ninja in that challenge. No one saw shit in that challenge. And also, talking about the challenge, right? Obviously, the idol was hit and he picked it up great. What I also love, and what I just also love about our game in general, was if you looked at that final 2 in the challenge, Amazing John, Lovable Troy, people are going to say, oh, John got it, right? John's really athletic, all this stuff. Troy loves a cigarette, which is fine. We love that.
Like my sister like that.
I mean, it's true.
Troy loves a cigarette. Troy loves a cigarette.
Troy bumped a cigarette off Matt during the game, and I got to yell at Matt for it. Anyway,
there are no lies being told here.
But what I love about our game specifically, right? You look at them too, you're like, oh, okay, I kind of figure what's going on. And Troy, I'll repeat all this because this is also Troy's words. He goes, the 40-something-year-old dad of 2 smoker should not have won that challenge. But that's what I love about our game, is that, yeah, that can happen. And even I knew Santi was going to throw this picture up, and John, I'm so sorry. Santi sent me this picture like 3 times.
It's beautiful. It's art, but diva down for real.
Troy should have thrown up the peace sign as he's running, because he's already looking back. So you might as well throw up the peace sign as he's going, just to really rub it in.
No, but so I mean, on a bigger thing, I just like that our game shows that anyone can win a challenge, and then like even throwing to season 2 without any spoilers, like you looked at like when it got towards the end of the game and you looked at the last couple people standing, they were maybe not the people you would expect to see. And I'm so excited when people look at season 2 being like, I would not pick maybe these people, and everyone looked different, and it was just really cool. And so I like this through line for Stranded to show like, hey, listen, come out and try it, and anyone has an equal shot here.
I do want to ask one more question about this. You said that it was kind of like, hey, at some point we're going to do this jump straight to tribal thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, without spoiling anything, were there any rounds past this where you thought, oh man, if we had waited just until this round to do it, this could have been even better?
I mean, when you run a game, there's always that coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? Because obviously, with the person that got voted out, like part of the reason they got voted out was because they didn't have that time to kind of rekindle and do damage control. And it's like, well, excuse me, what would if the person that got voted out, got that time, and then we maybe did the jump to tribal on Final 8 instead, what would that have looked like? And you'll never know. But we wanted to do it early enough where it would cause the most chaos. And then you saw like most of Stranded, and Santi can speak to this as a player, is we cast people that know what's up, and what my job is to then gag them. How do you gag the people that make the gags? You know what I mean? And you saw it, and I was like, we'll go right to tribal, and everyone's like, oh, like no one was expecting that. So that's why I was like, we did it in the right spot. Because everyone's like, oh, yeah, I knew it was coming. Like, okay. But no one was expecting that, and everyone was gagged. And that's ultimately what we wanted. And it still goes into, we want to be known as the player's game. Like, it's a strategically hard game because everyone thought, oh, I have a half hour to strategize. It's going to be great. No, you got to get your shit together, and we're rocking a tribal. So you got to put that vote. You got to put your target in the 30 seconds and put that name out there. And jumping to tribal a little bit, I think we really it was definitely at least 5 minutes, but less than 10 that we let them scramble.
Oh, that looked like it went on for like ever.
Yeah.
I was like, what else can y'all talk about at this point?
Yeah, no, it was like, it was 5. It was definitely between 5 and 10, but closer to 5. Because again, that was the whole point. Like, we're not going to let you sit there for 20 minutes. Then we might as well just have you go back to camp. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Should we bring on the eliminated players so we can
discuss
that spicy ass tribal?
We are joined tonight by 2-time voter out John. John, it's been great getting to watch you this season. You were one of my favorites watching the pregame interviews way back when. So for you, we're going to talk about the experience first, and then we'll get to the actual tribal. For you, how was it navigating the game post first vote out? Like we get a lot of content from you in those episodes in between, but obviously we don't see everything. What was it like for you trying to gain that footing again?
At the time, I only really saw one path that worked for my personality type, and it was just lean right back into the people that I was already trying to work with, because I didn't know if a swap was coming. I was hoping, but you have to work with the people that are on your tribe at the moment that you're in. We got back to camp and they all immediately were obviously like so apologetic, like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know who I could trust and who I couldn't. The one
Oh no.
Ooh.
So while John is frozen,
he is. I am enthralled in this story.
Well, while John is frozen, we'll quickly just kind of go to the beginning part of tribal and.
Wait, he's back. He's back.
Oh, John's back. Okay, John's back. Okay.
Where did you guys lose me? Where was I at?
You were just ready to say you couldn't trust anyone, so the one person that you could, or the one conversation you had was
Ymir. So, because Ymir came up to me and I found out that he was the person who didn't vote for me. So I felt like because I had him, I had like a bit of something I could grab onto within the people I was with. And from that point on, I just put all my trust in them. I didn't really try and enforce anything. I didn't get angry. I just said, hey guys, it's all good. Let's just roll. Tell me what to do. I knew I was in a bad spot. I just had to roll with the punches. As soon as that Megan vote went through, I felt really good. I feel like Dave and I really bonded by being on the bottom for so long. Pretty much all of day one, the votes were between Dave and I. So that really brought us together. I felt great with him. I felt really good with Nathan. I felt good with Ymir because I knew that he didn't vote me the first time. Am I losing you again?
No.
You're good.
You're good.
Yeah.
Cool. Sorry, I lost all you guys. So,
Oh,
but yeah, I felt really good going into day one, honestly, because I feel like I did pretty good damage control. And then I knew I had Bex, who was on the other side, and it seemed like she was doing well. I felt positive.
What did you think about Vote Out Gate? Like there's a mini storyline in the season where we're trying to figure out if
we lost him again.
Well, hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me, John?
Yeah, now I can. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know why this is happening.
Where there's a storyline where it's like,
now I can.
Who did they vote out? Was it John? Let me know. Are you good?
All right. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know what's happening.
I'm going to speed run through this then. Everyone was trying to figure out who got voted out of your tribe, and you kind of stuck to your no
Jess,
one.
Are you like stream?
Technical issues. Hold, please.
It's all good.
John versus the internet is a storyline we did not know we were getting tonight.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
John, what did you think about that?
What is happening?
Vote Out Gate.
Vote Out Gate.
I literally can't hear anything you're saying. It's I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Can you hear me now? He cannot.
No, he's frozen. Oh, there we go.
Okay.
Oh, he left.
Okay, well then let's go to the scramble right quick while we get John ready. Santi, you brought up earlier about you couldn't hear everything that was going on. I mean, in my notes, I'm like, everyone's scrambling. I have no idea what's going on. I kind of just said, oh, it'll probably just be Alex because his name was thrown out last round. He's some perceived all-time legend when it comes to challenges. So let's just kind of get rid of him now. In your head, where did you kind of see this going? And then we'll get back to John.
I kind of felt like it was always going to end up on Alex, but knowing that he had the idol, that was also kind of fun to watch from a viewer perspective of we know he's going to play it. How are these people going to try to navigate around that without that information? And it was a mess.
In the best way. It was a mess in the best way.
It was a beautiful mess because you have we could talk about the voting in a minute. I was gagged. Well, by the way, that was a really good gag of putting the vote. I think I texted you that of putting the votes at the end of the episode. I
always do that.
Leaving it to who the fuck was the other vote for, or who?
Oh yeah, because I think I only showed two, prior to the
I was sitting there trying to guess who the other vote for John was.
I did not think it was the person it was.
That really threw me off. Plot twist.
Every time I acknowledge you, I get cut. God damn it.
Is John back? Can he?
No, he said every time he acknowledges us, he gets cut.
Someone wants to type in the private chat. Maybe he can. By the time he comes back, he'll be able to see. So yeah, okay. I have so a bunch of people are scrambling at travel what's happening. Maybe Alex who's to say, but he does have whatever he found at the challenge. Yeah, it's an idol. Will, as the person that's running this whole thing, and you've already said, yeah, we want to make this interesting, we want to make this fun. Did you get what you wanted with this round?
Oh my God, yes, I did. It was way better than I thought it was going to go because first of all, it was a crazy vote, but then also there was so much bad gameplay on both sides. It wasn't just one person made a bad. Everyone was making bad moves. Obviously, I've talked to Alex, before, and it's he's like, yeah, I should have just been I'm not going home. Fuck all of you. Because that would have, then the Greens really could have flipped something there. But yeah, he tried to keep it secret, didn't tell certain people that he should have told, and he ended up losing that vote anyway. Like, yeah, he's saved, but then it still didn't make his game better.
Yeah,
like he did, and I think again with Stranded, it's all about making those quick decisions and how can you get out of it.
John, we're gonna try this again.
Okay, sorry.
What did you think? Oh no, God, I understand technical difficulties. We're all good. What did you think about the storyline of who got voted out of your tribe and how long that persisted, even going into the merge, even though most people kind of figured it out?
So I know like the big hinge point in that story is when I was walking by Troy, John V, and Bex the morning of day 2, and they asked me whether or not I was voted out, and I said no. Bex already knew because I had kind of whispered it to her very privately the night before. So I knew that she was like trying to get me to tell them. I understood what was happening. I don't know why I didn't just say yes, it was me. I really don't. I could blame it on being tired, but it was only day 2, so I really wasn't even that tired. I don't have many regrets from the game. I really don't. I don't regret Will likes to give me crap for how I voted for Dave and not Brooke in the previous vote. I stand by everything I did except for that. I really wish that I had just admitted it. I don't know what was going through my head. Day 1, I did really want to keep that under wraps, and it seemed like the rest of my green tribe felt the same, and I appreciated that. Day 2, I knew it was going to come out. I knew it was going to come out. I don't know why I didn't just say it right then.
And John, I will say that I do. I mean, I remember your pregame interview, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I relate to this person a lot, and I relate to that of like the regrets thing. I feel like a lot of LRGers, orders, whatever, hold on to a lot of stuff that happens in the games. They try to fantasy book how things could have happened. It's like when you do that enough, you go down a weird rabbit hole where you get more depressed at a lot of stuff that happened. It's like, just deal with it. You lost this way. If you had done this, yeah, cool. But and it's probably just the coach coming out. But I agree with you. Like, if you're going to have regrets, it's something that was not going to have a bigger impact. You telling them it's probably not going to change anything because
I respectfully disagree.
Oh, okay, Santi, why do you disagree?
Well, I mentioned this last time because I talked about how Survivor is a game of information, and information is how you build trust. And so when they asked John, did you get voted out? That was Bex kind of being like, here's your bridge to build trust with this group. And I feel like Amir woke up and was like, clocked the fuck in. He was the one who gave the information. So they built the trust with Amir. Then he flips. And like now he kind of slotted himself into the slot, I think, where John could have ideally went. But John, I've been there. Like, I think that's what I love about LRGs is I can always go back to one conversation I had. And if I would have changed something, I think the trajectory of my game would have went in a different direction. So I feel that 100%.
I still do think I could have overcame that if I had more time. I know you guys talked a lot right before I was brought on about the speed run of this round. And I do think if I had more time, maybe John V wouldn't have thrown that stray vote my way. Maybe it would have been Nathan's name instead or something along those lines. But that's the way the game goes. I'm not upset about it.
Yeah.
And speaking of John V, he's either the first or second voting confessional that we get. And he talks us through his entire mindset. And at some point, he kind of just says, yeah, Alex might have something, and I'm probably going to catch a vote, and I could just tie the vote or whatever and see what happens after that. And so John throws his vote elsewhere, which ultimately does work because, other people caught votes too, but Santi, what did you think of this? Like, John's not the only one that throws his vote, but like,
yeah, and
he's the one that we get in the actual episode before the end credits. He's the one that we actually see the reasoning behind.
This is why I love live tribals. I feel like John truly caught a stray. Like John S. Like being eliminated, like you caught a stray bullet because there was no definitive other than like the majority going to Alex as like a backup vote. John V clocked that there's something going on. and then you have Troy being messy. And it was like all of this stuff was happening, and because of these crazy circumstances that were out of pretty much everybody's control, you caught the most votes. Like, I don't think walking into that tribal, I would have been like, okay, John S. is going to be the one going home. That's my
nobody.
prediction. No, I didn't think that at all.
I thought I was in a
even
really
knowing
good
that
spot.
Alex had the idol and was probably like 95% going to play it, like I felt like almost it would have bounced to Nathan, is what kind of I was thinking. But
well, especially after Nathan sat there and said, well, I have 1-2 immunities and this, that, and the other. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. Why are you doing this? But I do think, to his credit, he did it, and he caught one. He only caught one, and I think that was more of a rogue vote. But it was.
But I think also that if we're going to talk about that Nathan vote, I think it also kind of shows how I'm going to say unstable, but like how shaky Purple actually was. Because, John V throws a vote to John S. Bex voted for Alex. Troy votes for Imir. You know what I mean? John S votes for Alex. Steven voted for Alex. Like, they didn't, like, everyone voted, like, and no one talked to anyone about it. Like, and in the beginning of episode 8, the next episode, the first 15, 20 minutes, I think it's 15, maybe even less, is everyone's decompression of like what the fuck just happened on that vote. And you kind of see where everyone's minds were kind of at. But Purple was all over the place, and it showcased that, yes, they're like together, but they could not be cohesive to save their life in that vote.
My favorite part of this episode is the time period between the votes being read, the time period from the votes get back to the votes being read, which is probably about a good 5 to 6 minutes of the episode.
We're all just like, Imir he finds the paranoid slide and jumps right into the slide and rides it the rest of the episode. And then it's a whole like, that was honestly my favorite part of the episode, because you don't really see that on Survivor a lot, where like, oh no, we need to have a discussion. Like, and you kind of saw like Jack and Imir kind of had a moment. He's like, I'm reading the votes. And it's like, wait, I need a minute. And then like he had to stop. And then, like you said, it was like a 3-minute conversation of like, I'm not sure if I'm going to play this, and we have to have a chat. I don't think I've ever really seen that on Survivor. Like
girl, I would have cut his ass. I love Imir Boots Down, but I would have been like, girl, play it.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes, shit or get off the pot. Yeah. Like,
he was like about 3 seconds from that, because I was talking. Me and Jack were watching it, and I'm like, give it like a minute or maybe 2 at max. Because again, we're not going to sit here and talk in circles. And then like Jack was literally about to be like, okay, it's now or never. And then that's when he was like, I'm keeping it. So then, he was that close to getting cut off.
John, we get back. We have the votes coming up. What in your head? How are the votes going to go? Who's going home? Probably
before Alex plays his idol that I don't know about.
Yeah, this is like before the conversation.
Yeah, you can do before, and then you can do when you guys get back after voting.
Yeah, so I was pretty confident that it was Alex. Everybody on the original Purple Tribe, when I say everybody, I mean specifically Bex and Brooke, but I also did speak to Steven and John V very shortly during that scramble. They all assured me how badly they wanted to get Alex out. They had been telling me that the round before. I knew how desperately Bex wanted to get rid of Alex. So it made logical sense to me. I was on board, and, having seen the way that the votes planned out, that's what would have happened if it weren't for his idol that literally nobody knew about. Mm-hmm. So I was pretty confident. Once he played the idol, I genuinely had no idea. I still felt pretty good until John V publicly announced that he wrote my name down. But I kind of knew it was all bets off at that point, because I knew it probably was 1 or 2 votes that are going to take whoever goes home out. I actually thought there were going to be more votes for Alex. I was surprised by the amount of strays. But yeah, I was very confident.
Can I ask you about that moment? So there's a reason. So like obviously the way it was shot. Normally I keep the camera angle on Jack when he's reading the votes, but this one I kept it on you guys. When the votes start coming out, like were you just like, oh fuck, or was it like a genuine like I have no clue where it's going on here? Because obviously it's at one point it was a 1-1-1-1, and you're just like, dude, holy shit. Like, what was that feeling?
Man, I mean, because I had already been voted out, I felt like this entire back half of my personal game, the second half of my game, I was just kind of playing on borrowed time. So like, yeah, I definitely had that like, oh my God, like what the I don't know what's happening, but I don't know, it felt like it was gonna be me. And maybe that's just me being paranoid, and anyone's naturally paranoid in that situation, but once I saw it the way it was going, I could feel it.
Well, you're not the only one that thought it was going to be, and we'll get to that in just a second.
Yes,
I
I'm here.
briefly touch on, there was a weird pause when we're asked, hey, anyone have any idols? And everyone's just kind of like, yeah, la-di-da-da-da. And I thought for sure, wow, is Alex actually not going to play this? Because it was a scary pause. It was scary to the point where I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm saying shut the fuck up to my TV. Like, this is not real. He's clearly going to play it. Is he not going to play it? This is crazy. But then he plays it. He plays his idol. We get the Ymir, will he, won't he thing. Obviously he ends up not playing it, but now everyone knows he has it. And we get to the votes. And we get to that final vote, and Ymir has, at this moment, the freak out of the season, even though it's a very casual freak out, at least from where I was in, it's a very casual freak out of, I can't believe I let these people like screw me over, this, that, and the other, only for John to go out. Santi, we have one vote left, and there are 3 or 4 people that could potentially go home at this moment. Where are you leaning as far as, oh, clearly it's this person?
I honestly, and again, I love Ymir boots down, but like I was low-key hoping it was going to be Ymir because of just the dramatics of it. So I was like, it'll be funny, but also that'll suck. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, entertainment-wise,
it would make great television, but also we're rooting for him.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I thought the same thing. Like, I actually kind of want it to be him right now because of where he's at in this episode of like, oh my God, he didn't play it. And now he's getting upset with her. And Bex is sitting there like, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. It's like, well, maybe he's not. Obviously, no offense, John, clearly. But for it to not be him, it wasn't a letdown, but it's like, oh man, that's the one thing that would have made this episode just perfection. Not because I'm rooting for his downfall, but just because of the reaction that we would have gotten.
I'm bummed that it's John because I'm a John S. stan, but I am excited for the Ymir spiral because Will can tell you this. Like, I love watching people spiral in this game. It is give me popcorn, let me sit back and just watch it. And it is beautiful. So Ymir is spiraling right now, and I feel like Bex is gonna have to like babysit a little bit in the next round or two. And so I'm excited to see how this is gonna happen. Hopefully he can bounce back and be like, we're good. The idol paranoia is gone now, and he can reset. But if he keeps spiraling, I'm gonna be excited to watch.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we and Will has spoke about it a lot. He picks these casts for a reason, positive, and I would assume whether you're admitted, negative too. Like, these people, like, on the negative end, people do when they're in that moment, whatever moment that is, give good television, even though they're at their lowest game wise, they're at their lowest. And I think in this situation, I sat up and I'm like, oh my gosh. He's going to go home, and he's freaking out, and he has Bex patting his back saying, hey, you're good. And ultimately, it does lead to our guest, John, going home. This was your second game first question I want to ask is, have you played any games since then?
Yeah, I played 2 games this past summer.
Okay. And did you take anything from this into those other 2 games?
This game was very different than the first game that I played, and it remains the most difficult game that I've played out of the 4 games that I played. I regularly tell Will that it felt like I was fed to the sharks, but not in a bad way. I was like really ignorant to like the LRG community before this. I just wasn't super aware of it. Like the first game that I played was more like a hometown game where I knew the rest of the cast going into it and they were friends of mine. Whereas this was my first game playing with, real legit LRG veterans at the time, the reigning villain of the year, John V. And I didn't know that going into it, but I learned after the fact. So I learned a lot from playing with these people. I would say the person I learned the most from was Ymir. I absolutely adored getting to play next to him, getting to watch him play from the sidelines because, I was never the kind of player that threw stray votes out there. And then, up until this point, this is Ymir's like 3rd or 4th stray vote he's thrown this season. That was a big thing I took away. Yeah, I definitely learned a lot because it was my first time getting to play with these heavyweights in the community who really know what they're doing.
And
yeah, to piggyback onto that, so like when he was talking about heavyweights, so like John's first game that he played, he was playing with people being like, oh, is this an idol? That's neat. What does this do? And like that's the kind of people he played with who like never seen the show. People were getting voted out with idols in their pocket because they didn't understand the rules that they had to when it had to be played. Like it was like a whole thing. So then when he comes here and people are talking like round 1, let's do like crazy plans. That's what I feel like John means by thrown to the sharks. But I feel like, John, you're underselling yourself because I feel like you are a shark as well. Because I think as you know, I watch a lot of LRGs. I watch like TV. I've seen so many LRGs where it's either a redemption or someone comes back, voted out, comes back, and whatever mechanic. And you know this, John, even on the real show, they're right back out the door. So the fact that you got voted out literally round 3 and then got all the way to 9th place, and you really only went out because of 2 strays. There wasn't even a plan to take you out. It just so happened that 2 people threw strays that just both happened to be your name. And I think you are correct. If you had survived that vote, I feel like you would have had a shot. So count yourself in that group of sharks.
Oh no, I do, and I appreciate you saying that. I truly, and I do agree. I think if I had survived that round, I was pretty much exactly where I wanted to be. I didn't really have a lot of win equity, which I don't think is a bad thing at that point in the game for someone like me. You guys talked a lot about touchy subjects in the last one review that you did with Bex. My name really didn't come up at all. I was tied for most annoying. Outside of that, no one voted for me. No one threw my name out as a guess. I was right where I wanted to be. I was in with Bex and Brooke pretty well. I think I had, despite voting for Brooke, I do think that I was back in her good graces in that 30-minute span I had or whatever it was. I had Troy whispering to me that he was interested in maybe working with me in the future. I felt good. I was where I wanted to be, but I'm also like stoked with how I went out. Like part of why I play LRGs and what I love about this is I just love Survivor and I like being able to relate to the game. And like going out in this kind of episode where I just missed winning the immunity challenge and then I got this crazy stray after, and I don't like that's what you want. I'm super happy with how it played out. So getting thrown to the sharks, not a bad thing. I enjoyed getting eaten by them.
John, I do have to ask you this, and I didn't put it in my notes, but I was thinking about it after the second fall. Is John throwing the challenge because it happened twice in the challenge? First of all, I'm assuming. Yeah, thank you. I'm assuming you didn't. I'm assuming you didn't throw the challenge.
I didn't. I don't believe in throwing
clumsy person. Was it slippery out there? What happened?
It was really slippery. I was wearing really old shoes. And yeah, I'm just a little clumsy. I don't know. I was throwing my body on the line and it wasn't working.
And the grass is way out there.
It was still early in the morning. There was dew. So
well, yeah. Like at the first time, it's one of those fool me once, fool me twice. after the second, I'm like, is he actually throwing this, or am I crazy?
I think I fell 3 times actually.
If he fell 3 times, then I definitely would have thought you were.
Yeah.
I'm telling
Hanging up in a museum.
If Troy had thrown up the peace sign, oh my goodness, perfect 10 out of 10 episode.
The Buccaneers player did that in the NFL a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, Tyreek Hill used to do it, and then they find him. Yep. John, final thoughts on your experience.
Oh wait, I have a question.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Before we get to the final thoughts, sorry. Why do you think Alex didn't tell you about the idol?
So at the time, I think it was just at the time, I thought it was because he didn't trust me for whatever reason. But then watching his voting confessional in the episode, he mentioned something along the lines of, I hope that Nathan got to John in time to tell him. Like, he mentioned me as being his third. He never told me, and Nathan never told me. And if they did, I obviously wouldn't have voted for him, and things would have gone different. I think it was timing, and I think maybe I'd have to talk to him about it. But it seems like maybe he thought that Nathan was going to relay a message that didn't get relayed.
And this is what I'm talking about. Not on your end, John. The bad gameplay. You're the one holding the idol.
But also, that's a guess. I don't know. I need to ask him that.
But all I'm saying is, Alex had the idol. He only had to talk to 3 people. John, Nathan, and Amir, that he had the idol. He could have said, fuck off to everybody else.
And a big part of why I voted for Brooke and not Dave in the prior episode was so I could stay in specifically like Alex and Nathan's good graces, and they would continue to share that info with me, and that didn't pay off.
I think everyone was truly, and you can attest, you can, correct me on this, John. Everyone was just really thrown, I feel like, because like I said, like everyone has been strategically pretty good. And then we said, you're going right to tribal, and everyone was like, I have no clue what to do. Everyone just seemed really off, like thrown by it.
I think some people were. Honestly, like I said, I felt really confident. Like, I thought it was just pretty straightforward. Obviously, like, that was my first ever live tribal, so it was inherently panicking. But I went straight to Brooke and Bex, the people I knew I needed to talk to. From them, I went straight to Steven, the person I knew I needed to talk to. Like, I knew who was already going for Alex. I went straight to them. I confirmed it. I felt good. I was surprisingly pretty low heart rate up until the moment Alex stood up and played that idol.
We have Troy. I was shocked that we had to go right to tribal, and more so that it was John. Yeah.
I also love how, John, you left, and it really wasn't because the plan was made. It was but this is what I love about Survivor. Amir and John both threw votes. They never talked about voting for John. It just like John V was like, I got to throw it on somebody, and I'm not sure. Something's weird. So I'll throw it on John S. And then it was like, I forget what Amir's voting confessional was. I think he said, well, this is jury management. And he goes, or something like that. Like, he voted your name, not expecting you to go.
Well, he did say it would be a betrayal to vote Alex, but not a betrayal to vote me. I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. Like I said, if you're going to go out, like you said, go out on an idol, play on a 2-1-1-1.
I have no complaints.
Santi, any final questions for John before I ask you?
I'm good on questions. I think I've asked John everything I need to know.
John, what was this experience overall like? How was your experience overall? Like, have you stayed in touch with folks? And I guess this is still pretty early in the jury phase, but how were you received when you got to Dave?
I'll start with that last part. Dave and I, like I said, we got along swimmingly. We were on the bottom all day 1 together, and it bonded us together. We got along well. Really enjoyed getting to know him as a person. We really enjoyed our jury time together. I believe he was the mayor. I was the accountant. We'll anoint the next few people that come as they join us.
Oh, I forgot you guys did that.
Yeah, I don't think any of it actually made like film or anything like that.
No, but every person that came to jury, they're like, we're giving you this mantle, because everyone had to have a title.
Well, I'll be sure to ask everyone that as they come in.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I hope they all remember.
And this is why I like playing LRGs, because of stupid shit like that. It is just so funny.
But yeah, the experience as a whole, I really loved it. Like I said, it was like super eye-opening, like just kind of playing a more legit like LRG with people that had flown in for it, like something that was foreign to me before that. We've stayed pretty close for the most part. Obviously, some people more than others. I will say I'm in both the season 1 and the season 2 group chats because I helped out for season 2 production. Season 2 is a little closer than we are. They still stay a little bit more in touch, but there are certain members of the cast.
You're hearing the lead, John. Oh, I helped on production. No. John. So basically, season 1, I always make a triangle. The core, right? The executive board was me, Jack, and Kyle. Cool. Season 2, it was me, Bex, and John. So like John being like, "Oh, I helped." That he's too humble. So I'll brag for him. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Season 2, the most of the, I would say 90% of the challenges John brought to the table. Me and Bex threw a little zhuzh in and we ran with it. And John was the challenge guy. He was our John Kerhofer for season 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a deep cut if you don't know. But yeah, John was like, no, some people don't know who the fuck he is, but he's like good to the Survivor lore. And like John was like, no, we're testing these challenges. John came over my house multiple times, and we're in my little front yard throwing bean bags and running and knocking blocks off tables and doing the whole thing. So yeah, John was a major part of season 2 and a major part of season 3 as we go to our challenge meeting, I think at the end of this week.
Next week.
No, next week. Sorry. Yeah.
Thanksgiving week. You're having a challenge meeting Thanksgiving week?
I didn't set the date.
Saturday.
I just agreed to it.
I have
on Saturday.
Recruitment
Well,
trip
you
during
guys can
Thanksgiving
put
week.
you guys can put reindeer games on in the background while you're having your challenge meeting.
Go Devils.
John, like I said, I was a big fan of you during those pregame. I won't say the interviews, pregame, whatever it was called back when you know what I'm talking about.
Past assessment.
Yeah, I know. Me and Julia were both very high on you, and so it sucks to see you go here. But I'm glad that you have continued your LRG experience post this. You've played 4 games now. You played 2 over the summer. I'm hoping that maybe one day I'll run into you, either as a production or a player. And yeah, thank you so much. And also, sucks to see you here.
I had so much fun the first time I had to come back twice, you know?
Yep.
I'm looking forward to next week's episode. I know this, broken record and everything, but this has been, the next episode. I don't know when it's coming out.
Yeah. Hoping next week, but we'll see.
Okay. I'm really looking forward to it. I feel like you said, this kind of, I think last week's episode kind of set the table for what's to come, or maybe it was this episode of what's to come. And I'm really excited to see what is to come based off of what we have gotten so far at the merge. John, one thing that John has mentioned tonight that has carried over from last week is Bex Brooke. He said, I knew I had to talk to Bex and Brooke first, because whether they were lumped together because of other things or because they are now a power duo in the game from my perspective, and I feel like from a player perspective and maybe from an audience perspective. So I'm interested to see where that kind of goes with everything. Santi, final thoughts?
Great season. I'm excited to watch it. Please tune in on November the 29th to Reindeer Games on my YouTube channel. Also, vote for player number 100 for Squid Games to return. And please watch Dilemma Corruption. It just started airing yesterday. It is beautiful. It's the first production I was part of this year, and it is cinema. I can't wait to come back for episode 8.
Will?
Yeah, I'll give you a little zhuzh. Episode 8, obviously, it starts off with the fallout of this tribal, and the fallout is big because, it becomes a game of Ymir being like, who the fuck wrote my name down? And everyone, and of course, Troy's not going to say shit. And then everyone being like, Brooke, why'd you vote Nathan? What was that about? John V, you voted John S. What the fuck was that, dude? So now the fallout is pretty immense, and everything is shaky. And 8 has been the biggest bitch to edit because of how crazy the strategy time is. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, thank you all for continuing to tune in to this. John, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great. I'm glad we got past the struggles of the first half of the episode. It's been a pleasure actually getting to shoot the shit with you. And we will see you all next time, hopefully next week. And until then, see you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.